Land of Raw, Chapter 3. Rose decides that we're going to put everything in the garden before sorting out what's going to the tip and what's going to the charity shop. And "hurry up, Arthur" soon becomes her favourite phrase. But it's hard to hurry up when there's so much cool stuff to look at. I discover a magic set, a whole pillowcase stuffed full of Playmobil pirates, and I even find a wizard's hat perched on top of an oar. I wonder if this could be what I saw at the window, but the oar is right at the back of the attic. There's no way I could have seen it from the garden. I put the hat on and creep up on Rose, planning to scare her, but when she turns around she just narrows her eyes and says, "Didn't you once have an imaginary friend who was a wizard?" She's right, I did. His name was Wininja, and he was stealthy and a bit magical. "He was a wizard ninja, Rose. Big difference." She smiles. "Is he standing next to you right now, Arthur? Whispering in your ear?" The moment she says this, I have this sensation that someone could be standing next to me, and I have to fight the urge to look. Rose goes back to her books and I glance around the attic, my eyes lingering on the darkest corners. "Hurry up, Arthur," Rose snaps. While Rose takes her bag downstairs, I decide to get started on the dressing up box. I take out an armful of clothes and dump them on the floor. I'm just trying to detangle a ball of beards and wigs when I spot a Quality Street tin buried at the bottom of the box. I pull it out and feel the weight of it in my hands. It's round and dented and has a picture of a soldier and a lady on the front, and when I shake it, I can hear something rattling around inside. I sit down and prise at the lid until it opens with a shower of rusty flakes. And that's inside. All that's inside is a foil chocolate wrapper and a large folded piece of paper. The piece of paper has the word "secret" written on it, on the front, in my own handwriting. I stare at the thick yellowing piece of paper, holding my breath as I wonder what I once thought was so secret. Carefully I unfold it and spread it out across the attic floor. It's a hand-drawn map covered in tiny pictures and carefully written labels, something Rose and I must have made years ago. The map is of a wobbly land, almost cut in half by a river. One side of this land is as colourful as a cartoon, with emerald green trees and bright blue lakes. The other half has hardly any colour at all. It's filled with blackened mountains, jagged grey cliffs and forests of stick-like trees. Written along the top of the map again in my spiky handwriting is one word: raw. Raw. The word sounds so familiar when I say it out loud. My eyes follow the zigzag waves one of us has drawn across the sea, and suddenly I remember the way those waves crashed against the cliffs and how there were so many of them the sea seemed to churn and boil. Just when I'm thinking that this map must have been inspired by some place Mum and Dad took us on holiday, I remember something else. Me and Rose bursting into this attic and shouting, "Let's play Raw." I smile. Raw isn't a real place. It's a game that Rose and I used to play, one that was so good we drew a map of it. As I gaze at the map, the game comes creeping back to me. I see mountain ranges stretched between folds of the paper and a curving coastline dotted with coves and cliffs. There's a cluster of jelly-shaped islands labelled Archipelago, a castle rising out of the sea, and 3 dragons soaring through the sky. Butterflies, or maybe fairies, are dotted everywhere, and sly-looking unicorns peer from between trees. I can't actually remember sitting next to Rose and drawing these things, but still my mind tingles with recognition and something else, something I can't quite put my finger on. Rose's footsteps pull me back to the attic. "What's that?" she says, kneeling next to me. "It's a map we drew of Raw." She frowns. "What's Raw?" That game we used to play. You must remember. Not really. We played lots of games up here. But Raw was our favourite. There were wizards and mermaids and we'd fight and have adventures. We played it loads. Rose looks at me with wide, amused eyes. If you say so, Arthur. I point at the blackened castle rising out of the sea. It's labelled the Crow's Nest. That's where the baddie lived. And, look, I tap a black circle. That's my ninja wizard's cave. There he is. A smiling face peeks out of the cave, a pointed hat sitting on his head. I'm sure you had a friend too. Rose snatches the jelly-shaped islands until she spots something. A girl's head poking out of the sea. She has blue hair drifting around her and the word Mitch written by the tip of her silvery tail. Mitch, says Rose, frowning. Then she smiles. She was a mermaid witch with a bad temper and webbed fingers and a magic tail. Sun streams through the window and outside the birds sing. Just for a moment, it's like it was when we were little, when we used to finish each other's sentences and make stuff up faster than we could think it. Together we stare at the map. Suddenly Rose shakes her head and jumps to her feet. She grabs the bulging bin bag and drags it towards the door. Hurry up, Arthur, she calls over her shoulder, or we'll never get our den. When I hear the bag thumping down the stairs, I turn back to the map. I can't resist. My eyes wander over the pathways and streams and mountain passes, and I start to lose myself in this strange place we invented. And then something catches my eye. A flicker of movement, a flash of light, and I find myself staring at the Crow's Nest. I see something that I missed before. A face is looking out of a window. The face is pale with round eyes and a crooked, stitched mouth. It's a scarecrow, a boy, and I can just make out 2 wings sprouting from his back. Croaky, I say, and I say the name, coming easily to my lips as anything. I stare at his black button eyes and his smile seems to stretch. I'd almost forgotten about you, I whisper.